Right. Wanted to create a short, hold on one second right there. Wanted to create a short little video on a mental model that I've been using for a few years that has really helped me out. And I know there's a bunch of people out there who have never thought this way, and I thought maybe this would be a cool little video to introduce them to that idea. And maybe they can use it in their own lives and get some benefit out of it. So it's a really simple idea. It's basically whenever you're thinking of making a decision, especially if it's a bigger decision, just ask other people their opinion. Start asking them what they think. And you don't have to put a bunch of weight on it. If it's you're buying a house and they don't even own a house, you don't have to think about it too much, but they might have some information that you have never thought about. Oh, maybe the place that you're buying it isn't the best neighborhood. Let me give you some examples of my own life where I've used this. So before I got married, I started reaching out to successful couples, people that are in good relationships, and I just started asking them a bunch of questions hey, what do you think of getting married? What are some problems you've had in your marriage that have come up that you didn't even think about? Some things that I can work on now that maybe we don't have to have those issues later. What are some successes? What are some of the great things about being married? What are some things that you had questions or things you wish you would have knew before you got married? You ask them those questions, and that gives you information to make a better decision. And marriage is just one example. Another one is buying a house. So I recently, a couple of years ago, I bought a garage and I turned it into a house. My wife and I are currently living there right now. And when I bought that place, I just didn't go, man, I'm going to go ahead and buy this place. This is a great idea. I reached out to a whole bunch of people in my life, people that didn't even necessarily own houses. And I was like, what do you think about buying this place? And some construction people that I knew in my life that are decently at building things. I was like, how hard would it be to turn this into a livable place? And then on price, I was asking other people, a real estate agent. I was like, what do you think about the price on this? It was $25,000. $25,000 is great for a piece of land that's at least an acre and has a foundation already, a garage. So I started asking all these questions, what do you think about it? What are your thoughts? Do you have any suggestions that I don't already have, or ideas that I haven't thought about? And it's worked out really well. Another example I wanted to give was college. So when I first graduated college, I didn't ask anyone what I wanted to do. I just was like, hey, I like math. I like engineering. Nuclear engineering sounds pretty cool, so I'm going to be a nuclear engineer. I didn't ask anyone any of these questions. I wasn't like, hey, what do you think I'm good at? That's what I should have done. I should have went to all the people in my life and said, hey, what do you think I'm good at? What do you think I'll be better at? What can I work on? And then use their information, for my blind spots, for them to help me pick a path. Not necessarily just me pick a path. A lot of people think that you have to pick your own path, but it's the people around you can see all your blind spots. They can see where it's heading. And so my first semester at this nuclear engineering college, there was actually an on-site nuclear reactor. And about halfway through the semester, I was like, I don't think I want to do nuclear engineering. I've talked to some people, and that's a great example. I talked to some other actual nuclear engineers, and I was like, that was a fire ant on me. Dang, maybe I need to move out from underneath this tree. I was learning stuff about what it means to be a nuclear engineer and the stuff you got to learn, and actually the daily stuff. So a lot of people have this misinformation when they leave high school. This is what I think a nuclear engineer does, and then you go and meet someone, you're like, it's completely different what they actually do on a day-to-day basis. A lot of these, even if you want to be an FBI agent or even a surgeon, these TV shows glamorize what those professions look like, and what they do on a daily basis is usually pretty boring. It's just they're applying some knowledge that they've learned. And so when I actually saw what a nuclear engineer did, I was like, I'm not really sure if I want to be a nuclear engineer. So I went to the on-site nuclear reactor. There was an actual nuclear reactor on the plant, which was really cool. And I went to it, and I basically took this tour, and they said nobody else had ever done this. No freshman had ever walked up and was just like, hey, show me around. So there was a bunch of screening that they had to do, because obviously it's a nuclear reactor, there's government stuff involved. But I basically told the manager of the facility, I was like, I'm just going to be straight up with you. I'm not sure if I want to be a nuclear engineer. You should try to convince me to be a nuclear engineer. And if you can, then I'll stick in the program, and maybe I'll be a nuclear engineer. And he showed me all. It was actually really cool, honestly, seeing all this stuff, how it worked, and went around the plant and everything. And I came into this room where a bunch of nuclear technicians were, and I actually saw what they did on a day-to-day basis. And I was like, this is pretty boring. And they're like, yeah, in the nuclear engineering field, if it's boring, it's good. And I was like, oh my goodness, I never even thought about that. If you want to be a nuclear engineer, boring is good. I like things that are exciting. I like to start things, grow things, learn things, all this new stuff. And it's that path may have sounded cool to other people when I told them that, but it's not the path that would have been best for me. And so that semester I dropped out of school. I dropped out of that college, and I went to a community college to try to figure out what I wanted to do. But it was man, I am so thankful that I went actually to that nuclear reactor and was like, hey, someone convinced me that I should be doing this. Like, what are your thoughts? What are your opinions? What does it actually look like to be a nuclear engineer? And so, like, when I do stuff like that in my life, whether it's in, right, like deciding on marriage or deciding on buying a house or deciding on moving or what my career wants to be or even starting a new channel, starting a new product, all these things, I just reach out to a whole bunch of people and say, what do you think about this? So, like, here's another example that I'm going to do. I'm going to actually start a product that explains cryptocurrency stuff. And I was like, instead of spending a couple hundred hours creating this product, you know what the better idea is? Just start asking these people if they would use it. And then, even better than that, you can ask them to buy it before you even have it. It's called pre-selling. And a lot of people think that it's like really scammy, but it's not, because you can even say, hey, I'll give you your money back and I'll give you $20 for like investing. Like, it's not a scammy thing. You just are trying to see if people are interested in it. And so I just wanted to wrap this video up real quick. If you're not asking questions around the people around you, like, those people can be immensely helpful on things you don't even know. Like I said, I got a lot of ideas and thoughts on how to like design my house for people that don't even own homes. So I'm really excited about this topic. I thought it was a really unique idea to share. Coming up on 6 minutes here, I try to keep these videos shorter. I could probably talk for an hour on this topic, but reach out to people in your life and just start asking them questions. Because when you're telling people stuff, or you're making your own decisions, you're not getting the best information. When you start reaching out to other people in your life, like, that's one of the best sources of information. Another one is like reading books, but that takes a lot of time, and you have to buy the book, and you got to commit your willpower. For most people, it's pretty easy just to walk up to someone and be like, hey, what do you think about getting married? Hey, what do you think about buying a house and turning it into like this tiny little home that I'm going to live in? Or what do you think about starting a new YouTube channel? And just get their ideas. And a lot of people, especially on life big decisions, if you just reach out to some of the people in your life, they know you probably better than you do. And in my life, it has helped me a lot to reach out to people and just ask them what they think. And then, like, you don't have to stick with what they say. Like, I'll give you a little tiny example here. I asked my dad, like, hey, I'm going to flatten out this land. I'm going to build a pool on it. And he gave me all his ideas on how he would do it. My dad's a really smart dude, especially when it comes to like building stuff. And so I took all of that in, but I'm like, I want to do some stuff a little different. And like, you can do that. If there's someone you respect and you ask them their opinion, you take their opinion and their information that they give you, and then you make the best decision of it. But if you never ask them, you never get that information. Anyways, just a short little video. Remember, ask people questions. People love telling you stuff. They love giving out free information. You just have to ask. You got to be curious. So I'm going to end this video. I'll see you guys later.